I swear I'm back here.
Show me Bob's. Show me Bob's on keys. This is bobkeys.com. We are working with them to bring you an additional 25% off on products like Windows 10 Pro. Use coupon code TS25 and you're going to save 25% off the already good price of $18.08, bringing it down by another $4.50. You can save money on Windows 10 Home and also 25% off as well with Office 2019. Now, once you get your key, it'll appear in your account. Just copy that, hit start and type activation, and activation settings will come up. Click on Change Product Key and then paste your product key here, or if that's not there, it may just say Add Product Key or Update Product Key if you have not already activated. Just paste it in there and then you will fully be able to use Windows 10. Thanks to bobkeys.com. And now to our regularly scheduled program.
It's pointless to even try to be at the desk with this thing because it takes up the entire desk and then some. This is the Viotek SUW49DA. It's a 49-inch panel, 5120 by 1440. It's essentially two 1440p panels side by side, put together into one ultra-wide 32 by 9. Now this one will also allow you to use up to 4 different inputs all at the same time, and you can just split them up if you wanted to do 4 verticals. I actually like doing 2 1440p monitors. That way you can plug up 2 different computers if you wanted to. There's no integrated KVM switch, unfortunately, but that's one of the only downsides so far. But you can plug up a couple different computers. Like here you can see my laptop on one screen and my regular desktop computer on the other screen, or you can hook up a console on one and then your computer on the other, because you have a lot of different options to the ports. We've got 2 HDMI 2.0 ports and 2 Displayport 1.4s, plus there's an audio jack in the back and USB, but that's only really for updating the firmware. I keep wanting to call this these, but it's the singular unit. One giant unit that can replace multiples. So this is a VA panel with a 4 millisecond response time, 3000 to 1 contrast ratio. And I noticed when I went into NVIDIA Surround, I could actually bump up the resolution, which doesn't make any sense. Had me scratching my head. I could bump up the resolution to 7680 by 2160, but only at 60 hertz. Now this monitor runs at 120 hertz, normally at the 5120 by 1440, so I'm going to leave it at that. I did try it out though, and it was running at that ridiculous, like, I guess you could call it almost 7K ultra wide resolution. It worked. It's like having 2 4K monitors or 2 21p monitors underneath the same bezel, just being crazy. So as far as the other specs go, I mentioned the 4 millisecond response time that you're going to get with this, and you can change between RTS and FPS mode in the on-screen display. You can turn on sort of a dynamic contrast ratio that we're seeing on a lot of different monitors that make the dark areas in the games a little bit brighter for you. It automatically detects where the darkest areas are and just illuminates them a little bit. You can also throw a crosshair on the screen using the on-screen display. You can toggle on and off the HDR mode, which is HDR 400. So you'll also notice that this is a curved panel, and in my opinion, that's the right choice for something that is this ridiculously wide. It has a slight curve. It's not like some of the monitors I've seen that are like ridiculously curved. It has a 1800R curvature. And the viewing angle, since this is a VA panel, is still, the same as an IPS, 178 degrees. And you do have better blacks than an IPS, but maybe not quite as good as far as the color goes. But in my opinion, I can't really tell much of a difference. So I'm completely happy with this. It's got maybe 120% of the sRGB color gamut, 98% of the NTSC, 95% of the DCI-P3, and 93% of the Adobe RGB gamut. So above and beyond that, they've also given us a speaker, and it sounds like a monitor speaker. It's tinny. You think with something this big they could put like a subwoofer in it, but that would also bump up the price a little bit.
No, it's just, okay, we'll go together. But I'm sticking to you like peas on honey, whether you like it or not. Scooter, check over this computer and download a complete version of your OS. You'll be able to take a look at it, Jay. As for me, I'll try to get that stupid hovercraft up and running.
And you'd have to put a giant magnet in there, which could cause all kinds of trouble. But the speaker as it is, it's good enough to get by if you don't have any other speakers, but I'd rather use the audio jack with a pair of headphones or some earbuds or something. So I don't like fussing with the on-screen display when it comes to changing, between different sources and stuff. So it is nice that they've given us a remote in the box. And the remote also has an RGB. The remote also has an HDR button, so you can toggle that as well. Depending on the media you're watching, if you've got something that is HDR, then it can take advantage of that. Just go ahead and turn it on. But having the source there is super handy, and also being able to navigate the menu right here is going to save me some headache of having to deal with the little buttons on the bottom of the monitor. They've given us pretty much everything we need, including a nice little screwdriver. Got that so you can screw the base together. The base is very clean and simple. We got some shiny red stuff on the back. It wouldn't be a gamer product without that shiny, glistening red accent. Then you have a single mount that's very easy in the back and a slim metal base. And if you don't want to use this stand, it'll work with a 75mm Visa mount. Not even 100, just a 75mm Visa mount. Also in the box, comes with the screws that you're going to need for mounting to the stand. You've got 2 DisplayPort cables and the power cable all included here. Now, why would they include 2 DisplayPort cables? Well, that's in case you wanted to hook it up to 2 different computers at the same time, or, you know. So one other thing that you can do is you can actually plug this up to 2 ports on 1 graphics card and run this as 2 separate 1440p monitors. And I know some people are going to think about doing that when it comes to being able to have 2 monitors side by side and being able to snap things here and there, but there is a better way. We don't need to worry about that. You don't need to run NVIDIA, you know, run 2 monitors and then run NVIDIA Surround. Even though I did get higher resolutions with NVIDIA Surround, I would not recommend it. What I would recommend doing with this monitor is using a program called Window Grid that'll allow you to create a custom window grid. And I like creating one 1440p monitor in the center of the screen and then 2 vertical monitors on the side of the screen using my different snapping options. But Window Grid will give you so many more options when it comes to snapping windows. You won't have to worry about any weirdness when it comes to the limitations of Windows multitasking snapping tools. All right, so let's talk about gaming on this. Now in this video, I'm only going to talk about a couple modern games just to see how it runs and how it plays. And I want to note that the performance on this compared to the performance with 4K, it's actually a little bit better because you're only dealing with 1440 pixels of vertical real estate versus 2160p when it's compared to 4K. But this is wider, you know, at 5120. So I'm noticing like 5 to 10% better performance with this when you compare it to the performance of 4K. And of course you can turn down some filters and also you can lower the resolution to some other, you know, 32:9 variants. One of the drawbacks a lot of people bring up is that, you know, a lot of older games just don't like to work at ultra wide resolutions. So I decided to do a whole bunch of tests with some old games. We're talking like a couple DOS games, but mostly old Windows games. And I'll do that in the second video. But for me, I'm completely sold on this. And I think there's now 2 different types of people out there when it comes to widescreen monitors. There's people who love gaming on a wide, ultra wide monitor like this. And there's also the people who have never used one or never seen one in the wild. They just parrot and echo everyone that they've heard online saying, I don't want to game on that widescreen thing, it's a hassle. So I think that this is one of the best experiences I've had with gaming. It's really immersive, but it's not so big. Like my 40-inch 4K monitor over there is just so big and it's only 60 hertz, so it feels a little sluggish sometimes. That one's, you know, it's a 16:9 resolution, and it's, you know, when it's that big at 16:9, it's really hard for me to focus on what's going on the screen. Whereas this really wide resolution, it works naturally with the peripheral vision that humans have, so it doesn't feel strange. It feels appropriate or natural to have, you know, an uber wide setup like this. So I found that my aim wasn't really effective. You know, it did take a little bit to get used to, and also trying to play while recording at the same time is not optimal because I've got the mouse on my lap and everything. But for the most part, I really did enjoy gaming on this. Far Cry 5 was really awesome, being able to run around and see all the mountains in ultra wide glory there in Montana. So if you want to measure this out for your desk, the dimensions are 46.4 by 18.3 by 9.5 inches. In millimeters, that's 1178.4 by 466.02 by 240.18. It weighs 23.3 pounds, and the entire box weighs 32.6 pounds. So when you compare this to a lot of the other models out there on the market, there's one from AOC that looks interesting. I don't think the colors are quite as good, but that one has a built-in KVM switch. For me, I feel like you could grab a KVM switch for about the difference in price, so that's not too huge of a deal. But when you compare this one to the more expensive, sometimes they're IPS, but the more expensive models from bigger name brands and stuff like that. So I do like the Viotek just when it comes to overall value. The link for the price is going to be in the description so you can see what the newest price is. All in all, I'm going to take this over to my computer, plug it in. I'm actually going to swap this one out for my 4K 40-inch. So it's not as high resolution, you know, vertically. But I'm really going to enjoy gaming on this, so I'm swapping it out for a couple of my monitors and it's going to take up the biggest chunk of real estate on my desk. But I'm very happy to be moving to an ultra-wide monitor, and I think once you try these out, a lot of the frustrations that people talk about are, they're easy to solve if you're someone who's willing to put in just a tiny bit of work for some older games, but most newer games will support these ultra-wide resolutions right out of the box. So, thanks to Viotek for sending this over. Really enjoyed taking a look at it. Be sure to head over to epicpants.com, grab yourself one of our brand new t-shirts if you want to be swanky and cool. And if you don't want to be a loser, then don't. I don't care. So I'll see you guys in the comments.